Today on the grid, we are talking about how to make great pictures without carrying a bunch of extra crap. Plus, Rick Salmon will be joining us. He's going to be showing off some cool new stuff. Erik, the real rocket man, the can of ham, he loves green eggs and ham. Kuna is here. We've got a bunch of news. We got a bunch of giveaways, and some of those giveaways are going to go to people who are watching the show live. I feel like it is going to be a great day on the grid because we actually have a semi-live studio audience. That was them. And they're well trained on their cues. Anyway, it is going to be a fine day on the grid. And when does all this start? In just 23.2 seconds. Let's go.
The grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Oh,
yeah.
Really
lively bunch we got there.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, look at that jib work.
Yeah, they did. Did you
Right
notice
over there.
Did you notice all those empty seats? We can't fill. Can't fill. Like this is all we could get. We love these people, but those empty seats, we scorn those that did not show.
Yep.
They are now banned.
Well, it was 1 o'clock. It was a little late for them.
Yeah. They are at early bird lunch. So anyway, we are glad to have you here. It is another fine day on the grid. We have a great topic today. We're going to talk about something that is near to dear in both my and Mr. Kuna's heart, and we have some shocking news about Mr. Kuna, how he has changed over the last few years in a shocking.
I've changed in little ways, yes.
He's changed in big ways, and we will discuss that
Light ways.
on today's show. Because we're going to be talking about how to make great pictures without carrying a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. And we're going to tell you who inspired today's talk. I have a tweet that inspired today's talk. It was not my tweet. It was somebody else's. But anyway, we're excited to have a live crew here, and they are boisterous. Yeah. Many of them will probably be arrested while they're here in Florida. But a lot of the folks are here for the VIP summit that takes place this weekend here at our headquarters in Tampa, Florida. We planned the hottest weather of the year for this weekend, so they could experience what we experience on a daily basis. But anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to having everybody here. We're going to be doing some shooting, some polluting, some cahooting, and other things that rhyme with that. Let's see what else. We got a bunch of giveaways today. Mr. Kuna, tell them what they could win.
We love to give stuff away.
We're loose with money.
So first, we're going to give away a copy of Scott's How Do I Do That in Photoshop book. Get that over on Amazon.com. We're also giving away a copy of Photoshop for Digital Photographers. You can get that over on Amazon as well, but somebody's going to win that on the show today. And Platypod, they're giving away the Platypod Grip. So this is a great attachment for putting your smartphone on a tripod, Platypod, whatever you want. And then we're going to give away a V-Flat from V-Flat World. So you can get that over at vflatworld.com. These are great because they fold up nice and neat right in the back seat of your car. You don't need a huge vehicle for it. And somebody's going to win that today. However, that needs to be a U.S. shipping address only. So only somebody with a U.S. shipping address. And then On1's giving away a copy of their No Noise 2024 plugin. This is a great, it's a standalone and a plug-in for Photoshop and Lightroom and all those apps that you have. So you can call it right inside of Photoshop and Lightroom and remove noise and add a little bit of sharpening to your image as well. And then Retouch for Me is giving away their Mattify app. This is a great plug-in for Photoshop. It does this AI,
magic?
Basically magic. I don't know what else to call it. Yeah, AI magic that creates these cool masks for doing retouching.
And it's really good.
It's really good.
It's high-end level stuff.
Yes, amazing stuff. And then SlickPic is giving away 1 year of their classic gallery plan to a new customer. So you can win any of those prizes. All you got to do to win is go in the chat, tell us where you're from, what you'd like to win, and at the end of the show, we'll pick winners and announce them, and you'll get your prize. There you go.
All right, there you go. All righty. Well, let me tell you a little bit about today's show. So we do have Rick Salmon coming on a little bit later. Rick's going to be here to show you something new. And What else? So today's show was inspired by something I saw in my feed from Richard Burnaby. Richard's one of our favorite photographers. He's a Kelby 1 instructor, a brilliant photographer.
Great photographer.
He does workshops and training all over the world, and he's just a heck of a guy. And so I saw his stuff come through I saw a particular one. I reshared it. I had to comment on it. And if you look on my screen right here, you can see it. It is this post. Every year, I find myself needing less and less gear. My check bags are getting smaller and lighter when I travel. And he's on his way to the Galapagos right now, I believe. And he says, I brought only 2 lenses. And no, I'm sorry, he's leaving for Botswana. And he says, again, just 2 lenses and a much smaller bag. And he actually showed, if you follow Richard, and if you're not, you should follow him at Burnaby Photo, .com, at
But this
Burnaby
last
Photo.
sentence is what it stands out for me. Yes.
Yep, paradoxically, I'm getting more done with less. He goes, then again, maybe it's not really a paradox. But
Simplicity.
Hashtag simplicity. And so this is something that Erik and I have been personally talking about, and we talk about it. You guys have heard us talk about this a lot. Now, you guys, last week I showed pictures from our trip to Santorini.
Yeah.
And all of the photos that I showed last week were either from 1 camera and 1 lens. I only took 1 body and 1 lens for the entire trip. I did not even take a camera bag, really. I never walked around with a camera bag the whole time.
Not.
Just 1 camera or my phone.
That was your backup.
And I meant to mention this last week when I showed my magazine spreads from that. About a third of the pictures were taken with my iPhone, and you would never know which
and
ones
actually
were which.
attendees as well that were using their iPhone, because when you get the power that it has for the panoramas, the power it has for just being able to bring it out in certain situations that you might not be able to
This is all
bring
true.
out another camera. So there's so many things that the phones can do now that our DSLRs or mirrorless can't do. So
Yeah, and we talked about that. We talked about that with the class. There's things that you can do on your phone that make more sense and are easier. But the thing about it is, and this is what I wanted to reveal about Mr. Kuna. So I used to joke that wherever Mr. Kuna and I went, if I forgot any piece of gear or any accessory, he had the largest backpack in the history of man, and everything was in there. If I said, do you have a tuning fork? You know, do you have
sure.
Do you have an extra set of guitar strings?
Probably.
It didn't matter what you wanted. He had it in that bag. Now, in Santorini, Erik had the smallest backpack, photography backpack. It's from Think Tank Photo, right?
Think Tank, yeah.
Think Tank Photo. I think it's their smallest backpack.
It's like the airport.
It's like this big.
I don't know. It's
It
something
literally-
airport. It's the one that fits anywhere.
It fits anywhere. It fits in any plane. It fits in anywhere. You can't find a commuter plane that's just so small that it won't fit that backpack. So Erik went from a backpack that was just bigger than his back to this nice little one, and Erik's really embraced that. And I never thought I would see, because Erik brings everything, and now he's going lean and mean, and he'll shoot things that are very, very challenging, like air shows and things, with minimal gear. And so you've got some shots.
Yeah. Well, no, this is a great example I wanted to bring up. So let me bring up these shots here, right? So what I wanted you to look at is see these shots and go, which one was taken with the $600 lens and the $1,200 body, and which one was taken with the $5,000 camera and the $15,000 lens? So let's just look at them. And which one of these shots can you tell is taken with just the run-of-the-mill $1,800 kit? Right, and which one is that Mondo? I got to have the L series, 400 f2.8, right? If we're looking through these, can you
Which
tell
one
yet?
is which, right?
Can you tell? Is there any of them? Like maybe that one? I don't know.
Is that a MiG?
MiG, yeah. Blue Angels coming at me. Blue Angels, Moon. All that good stuff, right? Well, the reality is every one of those shots was actually taken with a just the one
$600 lens,
$600 lens,
light,
right? Lightweight, about 1.5 pounds.
Wow.
So I've been shooting a lot of the air shows lately with the R7, right? So you've got the it's a crop sensor, and then the 100 to 400 RF. which is not known to be an air show lens, right?
No.
But at the end of the day, what it can allow you to do is, like when you're seeing those slow shutter pans and all that stuff, when you're carrying around a lens and a body that's a combo of maybe 2.5 pounds, you can shoot all day long. No strain, no back pain. I embraced a lot of this actually because of last year I actually had to have back surgery. So I had a issue with my back. I had to have back surgery. So I really had to lighten what I was using. And I found that actually freed me up to be more creative than less creative by shrinking down my gear, lightening up my gear. My panning techniques became better. Everything became better. So but it's translated to everything. Like my Milky Way photography, I use one body and one lens. I don't change it. I just got one thing that does. So then I know what this lens can do. I know what this lens can't do. I know what my framing possibilities can be. And it's a 15 to 35, and I work that.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I've got the same lens. Here's the lens that I use right here. It's my one go-to lens. This is my most used lens by far.
I never see you take that off anymore.
Yeah, it just stays on there. It's $7.99. And I ran into somebody that sent me a note. This is in the last few weeks. They sent me a note and they said, I know you love this lens, but I read a review that said it's not that sharp. And I said, go look at my photos and tell me if you say, wow, Scott's photos are not that sharp. Because they're all taken with that lens, all of them, except for air shows. I don't shoot air shows with it because you need a little bit of longer length at an air show.
You need that
240 is not a great air show lens.
Like that 400 is nice with the crop. Because the 400 crop gets me out to about 600.
Yeah, it's
600
nice. 600
is where
is
you
the
want to
sweet
be.
spot.
Yeah,
because you know what?
600.
They keep moving the planes for safety reasons here in the U.S. They keep moving where the flight line is further and further away from the crowd, right? Because they've had accidents and horrible things, right? So they just, for safety reasons, especially when the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds are in the air, then they have an extra set. Even the show photographers that are credentialed and all can't go out as far, and they have all kinds of rules about it. But anyway, outside of that, that's my go-to lens. I just leave it on my camera, and if that camera breaks, if it goes down, then I have a 48 megapixel camera that I'll be using instead. But that's it. That's my go-to lens, and it's not the sharpest lens I've ever owned. It's $799. It's not $7,000, right? It's fairly inexpensive. However, the shots are pretty sharp. They're pretty sharp. Once I sharpen them, they're very sharp.
And they're way sharper. The RF lenses are way sharper than the EF lenses were.
The same lenses from before.
Already you have that advantage. Like my 100 to 400 EF lens is not as sharp as my 100 to 400 RF lens. One was $600. One at the time was $2,500.
Yeah, and if they show like a graph at any time to prove the sharpness or something,
oh boy, just don't listen to it.
Just go to a different website.
Don't listen to it. If they're worried about dot pitches and all that stuff, just throw it away.
But honestly, since the mirrorless revolution has started, and like Erik just said, the lenses are so much sharper. I really don't hear much griping at all about sharpness of lens. Before the mirrorless revolution, everybody talked about it all the time. Oh, I wouldn't shoot my kid's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese with that lens.
Well, there was lenses that were that bad.
There were crappy lenses, like
bad
the
lenses.
Nikon had a 10 to 22. That was horrendous. It looked like you took like Vaseline and put it over the end of the lens.
Canon had the 16 to 35, like the first one.
The first
terrible.
16 to 35 was not good.
Terrible.
But the 16 to 35 f4 was better.
F4 was better, yeah.
But anyway, today the lenses are so much better that you really don't see anybody's shots and think that they're soft. And it's not like that mine are sharper than anybody else's. Mine are sharp like everybody else's. All I do is I open up Topaz Sharpen or On One's No Noise, and I run it to sharpen. And that's it. I don't do any sharpening in Photoshop anymore. I let the plugin do it. I click OK, and I move on. That's it. And it works great. It does. I let the AI do its thing. Every once in a while, I'll override it and say, no, I want a little stronger sharpening. But normally, I just let it run its course, hit OK, and the images look deadly sharp. They look like they were taken with a really, really super crazy sharp lens. Now, can you buy a sharper lens than the 24 to 240? Yes, and it will be much heavier and at least twice or 2.5 times more expensive than, probably 3 times more expensive.
But there's one key there, right? And that's what I've noticed with this revolution that we both have. You started it earlier than I did. But since we've got on this kick of using one lens when we shoot, like, you know, with aviation, I like to keep one lens. You travel, we like to keep one lens. When you have one lens on, you always have the right lens on. When
That's
you
right.
have 2 lenses, you always feel like you have the wrong lens on. But if you've got a semi-wide, that's a wide to a telephoto lens. Like, you're good. You can cover pretty much everything. Yeah, okay, well, there might be that situation that you could argue, this one little situation, like I'm in a wide angle in a church and I need a 14. Well, at that point, I guess you could bring out, like, Canon has a little 16 millimeter. It's
that
like a
little
pancake
tiny
lens.
Little 16 millimeter.
And then some people had that. I mean, you could totally do that. But that's really all you need. You don't need all this heavy, large gear to make professional images anymore.
Now, is this the art? Look at this 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
If you really need to go wider than 24, this is your answer.
Yeah, I mean, Jason had that lens when we were shooting Milky Way, and it's actually a really decent lens for Milky Way.
It's an f2.8 lens. It's a little pancake kind of lens.
I mean, if you're getting into it, for $250, it's great.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and add that to my cart now.
Well, Jason has one, so you can probably just borrow it if you need. That's what's great about us all shooting Canon is.
Hey, look, there's instant savings. Look, there's a $50 instant savings coupon.
You can't beat that.
$249.
You can't beat that. Because back in the day, to get that, you'd have to buy some like Tokina or Rokinon lens.
Yeah,
those were actually not sharp.
Yeah. So these are we're living in an age now. There's another aspect to going light that we're going to talk about. We have to take a short break, but there's another aspect that we want you to consider that is going to be the most controversial, because so far it's not controversial. We're like, hey, let's go lighter. And everyone's like, okay, but it's the next one where people will start throwing stuff. So stick around. Our studio audience at that point will probably get up and walk out.
They won't start throwing stuff at us.
No, they'll leave.
Hopefully.
There they are.
Hey.
Hi folks, I know a lot of you photographers out there are using On1 software, and you probably heard that they came out with their new On1 Photo Raw 2024. I just did a class on it, and there's some mind-blowing stuff in there. You have a RAW processor, and it's a good RAW processor, but it's also got all of the On1 filters. It's got effects, it's got portrait AI, it's got sky replacement, best sky replacement anywhere, by the way. they've got all kinds of these plugins they're all built in there. It's like a whole ecosystem of a million things, and you can just keep building and building and building. It's pretty mind-blowing. There's a lot to it, but I'm going to take you through all of it. We're going to start from scratch. We're going to do a live shoot in the studio. We're going to bring the images in. We're going to edit them. We're doing landscape shots. We're doing travel shots. We're doing it all, and you're going to see the whole thing from start to finish. Come check out my brand new class on ON1's Photo Raw 2024. It's only one place. It's exclusively at kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
2. Well, you got a brief glimpse of wand there.
Yeah, brief glimpse.
Magic wand over there in the corner.
Now it's going to get controversial.
Yeah, this next segment is going to get controversial. First, we're going to do a couple of quick shout-outs, and we got some comments from you guys.
Yeah, so we got James Gordon Patterson saying greetings from a warm Phoenix, which is warm here in Tampa as well. Yeah, definitely a little heat wave going on. And John saying hi from Kansas City. We got Leanna saying hi from West Allis, Wisconsin. We got Teresa saying hi from Summerfield, Florida. Tim saying hi from a sunny and hot Gilbert, Arizona. I expect to hit triple digits today. We won't be in the triple digits yet. And then AJ saying hi from Miami. They are close to triple digits right now.
They're hotter than we are.
And then looks like James is saying the high is 99 today. So there we go. And then we got some shout-outs here. We've got Rami in the chat saying, as a professional landscape dude, I am completely happy to use lower grade lenses, like the new Nikon 24 to 400 millimeter, which is about
28. It's 28
to 400, which is a great lens, which is about $1,000. The new lens is sharp, and I do have the 2.8 14 to 24, which is needed for night photography. But other than that, that's all he needs. It's all about the shooter.
Yep. And
I can't agree more. I mean, that's what you only just need. Like, you only need the 2.8 is really at night.
Look at Tim's comment here.
Yeah, and Tim saying, my iPhone is the best for photographing the Northern Lights, which I would agree as well. When we were in churches in Greece, remember?
Yeah, we went to a church in Greece where it was
pitch dark,
pitch black. Like we were looking, it's one of the most famous churches in Santorini.
And guess what you can't use in that church?
A tripod.
Yep.
So we went in, and it was so dark, and I thought even if we could use a tripod, it would take you 10 or 15 minutes to dial it in. But you know what? You take out your phone and you aim it up, and your phone automatically goes into night mode, and it looks perfect. And you're standing there looking at your phone. You're in pitch darkness. You look at your phone, and it looks like you brought in a lighting setup. In fact, I could probably show you the picture. I have it here.
It is amazing. So that's what the phones are crazy. We were on the flight over to Greece, and Jason and I were shooting night mode out the window of the plane, getting the Northern Lights and the Milky Way.
It's true.
From the plane in night mode. Like, it was crazy. It was really cool. We spent like an hour, and then we took out our mirrorless and really started going to town, and it took us about another half an hour to get the shot because the phone got it in one try, but then we were having to like cover up it was pretty insane. I got some behind the scenes.
All right, the image on the left is inside the absolutely pitch black
darkest church.
And Erik and I look, darkest church I think I've ever been in.
Yeah.
And we said, there's no way we're going to bring the class in here because without being able to shoot, it was just way, way too dark. You're talking like 30-second exposures, and your phone goes, oh, perfect. And you're just
no
like,
problem.
Wow,
I got it.
I bet I wasn't in that church 2 minutes.
I think you were in there for 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, literally, we walked in. We were on our way to dinner, and we just were walking past
some test shots.
We went inside and walked out.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect it to actually come out that good. But sometimes the phone just does a better job, and sometimes it's just quicker. Now, We got some other comments.
Yeah, so John's saying the RF 24 to 240 is my go-to for 90% of my photography.
There you go, John Balboni. Hey,
yeah.
John.
And then James is saying I use the RF 100 to 400 with the 144X for air shows.
That's a great lens.
thing. And that's what's great about the 100 to 400. You can add the teleconverters onto it as well. So, and then Andrew's saying, Scott, love your class, knocking your first portrait out of the park. Probably watched it 7 or 8 times before taking my daughter's senior portrait. Used the 24 to 240 and just made sure I was over 85 millimeters.
Yeah, I did a class for people that never shoot portraits. Like if you're a landscape photographer or cityscape, for Kelby One, it's a Kelby One class. And I did a course for people that had never shot a portrait, and I was going to set them up for success to where that they could not come away without making a great portrait. Because a lot of people will say, well, I'm not really good at shooting people, I'm not comfortable shooting people, I'm not any good at it, and I wanted to do a class just for them, and that's the class right there. And it's broken down into a bunch of lessons, and I go through the camera settings and everything else. But I set you up to where if it comes out wrong, it actually is on you. I mean, I set you up where you can't miss. You know, it's just anyway. That was what that comment was from. All right, Sharon. Who's Sharon? Yay!
Hey, Sharon.
Sharon was with us in Santorini, and she says Santorini stairs force you to go light.
Yes, they do.
Man, there's a stair or two in that.
That whole town, it's uphill.
It never goes down.
Everywhere you go, it's uphill.
It never. You keep wondering, when do the stairs go down? They don't.
They don't. It's magic.
I'll tell you what. If I could get the license to be the escalator salesman in Santorini, I could clean up that town.
It is ridiculous.
All right, Rick Salmon, who will be joining us in just a moment. Rick Salmon says, I am bringing only my iPhone and S23, which is another phone, on the Erik Kuna Milky Way workshop this summer.
Yeah, there you go.
Then that's Rick Salmon, a legend.
Salmon.
All right, so this next thing is going to be controversial. We're just giving you the heads up now. Remove all children from the room. Because
do we even want to go there?
We're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
Here's the thing. I think we're at a point in our photography where, for the most part, not all
That's the key word there. For
the most part, we can leave our tripods at home. There's less reason to use a tripod today than any
right now.
I know. There's less reason to carry a tripod than any. Now, I took a tripod with me to Santorini, and I have the lightest weight tripod. Well, first I have a Gitzo travel tripod, but for Christmas last year, not this one, but a year ago, my brother bought me the Pics design travel tripod.
Yeah, the carbon fiber one. It's like super light.
It is ridiculously light. I think I set it up twice. Now, why? Why are we able to leave our tripods home now where we weren't a few years ago? First off is your ability to handhold and get sharp shots today is much better than it's ever been because of the mirrorless cameras and their sensors. Now,
stabilization,
the built-in stabilization, either in-body stabilization or in-lens stabilization.
Or a combo of both.
So if you're just going to shoot sunset, or if you're going to shoot after dawn, even if you're going to shoot indoors, you can raise your ISO safely to 1600 or higher. The other reason is because we have software today, including stuff that's built into Lightroom, built into Camera Raw, or plugins like Erik and I use. We use the On1 No Noise AI, where it looks at the photo and it wipes out the noise on a level that even we are just staggered at how it keeps the sharpness.
It even adds the sharpness back by doing deblurring, where it'll take the blur that comes from the noise and counteract it.
It's incredible. It's amazing. And so, like Erik and I were shooting things in Santorini handheld that a few years ago we just would not have done.
I wouldn't even have thought to do it because I wouldn't be able to deal with it.
Yeah,
like 5 years ago.
Yeah, because up until then, all noise removal did was blur your image.
Yeah,
it hid the noise by blurring your image. Today, it maintains the detail and sharpness, and it's all AI based. It is. It's not something magical you're doing. You launch the plug-in, it does its thing in about, 5-6 seconds. Unless you use Lightroom's built-in one, then it's longer. It's maybe 30-40 seconds. But either way, the Lightroom one's built in and you're already paying for it. or you can go and get. Look at AJ's comment.
Yeah,
here.
yes. I can't remember the last time I used my tripod. I think if I could find my tripod, I could get it. It would be covered with cobwebs.
All right.
So there you go.
So here's the thing. We're not saying you don't need to use tripods anymore. We're just saying you need to use them a lot less. So
Special circumstances.
This is something you don't have to carry with you all the time. Now, do you need a Platypod?
Yeah, I mean, the
Platypod
Platypod's
Ultra,
great
the little one that fits
because
literally in your
that
pocket.
can go in your pocket, and you did use that more than your tripod. But not much. But you have it in your tripod or your pocket, and then you have a little attachment, and that's all you need.
Look at this one. Linda says, guess who hates tripods? Laughing out loud. You can't convince me to use one unless I'm doing a slow shutter. Okay, thank you for bringing that up. That's if you're doing a long exposure or a very slow shutter speed where you're trying to get motion, yes, you're shooting. If you were to shoot in that, if they would let you have a tripod.
If they would let you have a tripod in
the
that
dark
church.
But there's a woman standing at the door.
Oh, she was yelling at people.
She was yelling at people.
I mean, but she was like the kind you were scared of. Like,
yeah,
she was like a nun with she was gonna.
Yeah, she was a nun with an attitude.
She was gonna whack you with those sticks.
Yeah, she had a ruler in her hand.
She did.
As you came in the door.
Ooh.
She was aggressive, we'll say. Anyhow, but there are the number of times that you need a tripod today, especially if you own a Platypod. So we're doing these workshops. I always ask, does everybody have a Platypod? If you have a Platypod or you're just willing to have, you just have to have reasonable camera technique to keep it because of the stabilization, because of the noise reduction. You can shoot at 1600 or higher. I've shot at 3200. I've shot at 6400. And low shutter. You can get away with stuff today that we literally could not do a few years ago, provided you have one of two things. You have a mirrorless camera. Now, there were some DSLRs like the Canon 1D Mark III and what was the Nikon D4. There were a couple of different cameras at the very high end, D5, I'm sorry. Yeah. At the very high end that their noise was pretty good. But the mirrorless cameras today, their noise just keeps getting better and better. To where
we're talking about like entry level ones.
Yeah, even lower
entry level ones,
low cost ones. And I'm seeing a point where noise just I can see it's not here yet, but noise is almost not even an issue anymore. Like that used to be a big issue. Everything was about noise, but I see the noise thing going away very, very soon. But right now, it's so manageable that I can't believe how rarely I use my tripod. So now, picture this. You're traveling with, You're traveling with either just one lens, no camera bag, and no tripod. You know what that frees you to do? Actually enjoy the trip.
And be creative.
You can enjoy the trip and you're not messing with your settings. You're not messing with your gear. And Erik said it. We talked about this many times. Whatever lens you have, you turn the corner, you're like, oh, I need my wide angle. And you stop and you're switching lenses. Everyone else is enjoying themselves. You're in the lens.
And by then a cloud comes and the light isn't the same or whatever is going to happen.
And then you put on that other lens and you're like, got it. And then you turn the next corner. Oh, I need the wide angle. Whatever lens that you have on right then is always going to be the right lens for about a minute or two. Then you're going to need to switch lenses. If you buy a lens that does all the way from wide to long telephoto, you don't have to change lenses. You don't have to carry a camera bag. You don't have to do any of that stuff. I keep a cleaning cloth in my pocket, and I do one thing. I use a Black Rapid strap. It's their classic strap. And on the strap itself, it has a pocket for a battery. And I keep a battery right in that pocket. You could actually put two batteries in there, but I've never needed more than one. So it's right there, one battery. I already have a backup right there. I keep an extra memory card all the time, anywhere I go, in my wallet. I don't know why, but I have a tremendous fear of filling my card, apparently. But I have an extra
I have the same thing.
SD. Yeah. And so I have a cleaning cloth in my back pocket. What else do you really need? Now, if I have an ND filter, I have it in its case and it's in my pocket. I just pull it out when I need it. Now I do wear shirts that have a pocket right, up here. This thing's sewed shut. What the kind of a broken pocket? Anyway.
Yeah, but I mean that's where I'll have some of that stuff in my backpack. But and I will say I do carry around a tripod because I tend to go into twilight. That's when I tell people is like if you're going to get into twilight, you're going to get into that low light scenario. I might need it at that point, and then night, I definitely need it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
those are the two instances.
Yeah, there's a couple of times.
That's the two instances that I really need it.
Yeah, I wouldn't go shoot the Milky Way without a.
Yeah,
without
you
a-
wouldn't with the Milky Way.
No.
You wouldn't if it's getting extremely low light and I'm going to want to run up those shutter speeds,
Right.
or I'm going to do a long exposure. But those are really the instances. And how many times do we actually do that?
Not
Not
very
many.
often.
Yep.
Or you can do, here's what works best for me. Instead of carrying a tripod, walk over to Erik and go, hey, can I use your tripod for a minute?
That's
Which I
what it
believe
is.
I did once in
Yes,
Santorini.
we did.
I did snag his
I
tripod.
had
for
my
him.
tripod and I loaned it out a bunch of times.
You know why? Because he wasn't using
I
it.
wasn't using it. I was just helping people.
All right, so let's see. Gladys says she would love to see more videos on using the Platypod. We actually have a video on the Platypod for photographers. It's with Larry Becker and Eddie Tapp, and Eddie's wonderful,
Over on
and Larry
Kelby
is the greatest. It's over on Kelby 1, so we already have a class right there for you, Gladys. Go to now, Gladys. You can just buy the class and watch that one class. I think it's what, $19.99 or something.
I think it's $29.
$29,
Yeah.
something like that. Oh, there
But
it
I would
is.
suggest just getting a subscription because it's actually better. But
Yeah,
That's what I would suggest.
Get the subscription, and
yeah,
then
it's
you know.
definitely better.
All
All
right.
right. And then we got James saying, I have a black rapid staff and love it.
It's great.
Yeah. And Tim Oliver saying, I still use a monopod with bigger lenses sometimes. I may wait for 30 minutes waiting for critters to do something. Yes.
Oh yeah, no, there are certainly.
There are certain instances.
Yeah, I wouldn't shoot football without a monopod on my 400 millimeter lens. John says the in-body stabilization on the R6 Mark II, that's the body that I use, works great, and it does. It works great.
Well, and that's like with aviation. Actually, what I do is I have one of the black rapid straights that has the two straps, right? And I've got my telephoto on my right hip and my wide on my left hip. And the reason I'm doing that is because they don't make a 24 to 600 yet. You know,
I tell you what, though, Nikon's getting close, aren't they?
they're getting close
Didn't
with
they do a
that
28 to 500.
28 to 400.
All right.
Yep.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Rick Salmon is going to come back with the folks from SlickPic. I know a lot of you have SlickPic portfolios. They got a cool new thing. Oh, it's too late. It's too late. It's too late.
We know who looking like this for real. We know who looking like this. We know who looking like this for real. We know who looking like this.
Hey everyone, Rick Salmon here. I'm really excited to tell you about my latest class on Kelby 1, Capturing the Great Outdoors. Now, like my 45 other classes here on Kelby 1, this class is packed with information, it's packed with photos, and it's also packed with some cool videos that I made up here in Alaska, and it's my 4th trip here. So in this class, I cover a ton of topics, including photographing birds in flight, one of the hardest challenges for any photographer. Landscape photography, where one of the goals is to put the viewer of the photograph in the scene. Basic wildlife photography tips so you don't miss a shot when you have an amazing wildlife encounter. Camera gear, the equipment that will help you tell the story of your adventure. Camera settings, what you need to know in order to get the best quality, the very best quality images. Lens settings, I told you it was packed with information. Lens settings, which can make the difference between an outtake and a keeper. Telling the story with photos and videos, which is a ton of fun for you, your friends, and your followers. There's more, basic image processing, where you could turn a flat shot, like this photograph of a small iceberg, into a fab shot that you'll be happy to hang on your wall. At the end of the class, I'll share with you a slideshow of some of my favorite great outdoor photographs that I've taken in other spectacular locations around the planet. These photographs illustrate what I call photo cross training, which means what you learn in one location, you can apply to another. So my friends, I really hope you can join me for my latest class only on Kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Hey, we're back.
Yay, yay.
Hey, Scott, I got a question for you.
What's the question?
Peter's asking, what ball head do you use with your Platypod?
With the Platypod, I use the BH40. It's the BH40 from Really Right Stuff.
All right, there you go.
Oh, wait, I also use...
The Oben.
I use 3.
And the Gitzo? Or the...
I use 3. I think it's kind of based on whatever's in the room when I go in there. Whatever Erik has a
I have in my backpack.
Whatever Erik doesn't have in his backpack, I use.
I had a BH40, so
I use
that's probably why you
either
used that
the Rocky Mountain. What's the Rocky Mountain Tripod Company?
Oh, yes, that one.
I
That
use
was
their
really
ball
nice.
head, or I use the Oben BE 114, or I use the
you
Really
go.
Right Stuff. They're all just small ball heads. Just
Yep.
You do not have to buy an expensive ball head for them. And
Especially if you're going light.
hey, while you were gone,
Your gear gets cheaper if you go light, too.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
another thing we didn't talk about.
That's it. Hey, Stu joined us.
Yeah,
Stu
Stu.
snuck in while we were on the break. So our studio audience has grown by 7%.
Yep.
So we're pretty excited. Yeah. A small but mighty crowd. A mighty crowd. All right.
So, we're supposed to have some guests joining us.
we do.
now.
We have some guests, but we're not 100% sure our guests are there. So
We heard some Skype ringing.
all right.
but-
While we're here, Diana says I shoot with the 24-240 because of your recommendation. 3 weeks in Italy last summer, and it was great. It really is. It's so nice
really
having
is.
just one lens.
That was actually my thing of why I loved the Samsung S23, not the S24 because they changed it, but the S23 had a 24 to 200, and it was just nice to have in a cell phone like that kind of range.
Yep. All righty.
I think I might hear somebody. Hello?
Are you there? Oh, there's
Hey.
Kevin. Kevin, can you hear us?
Hello, hello.
Yes,
all
we hear you.
right. All
Awesome.
right. So, yeah.
Oh, look at that was a little effect when you did that. That was cool.
All right, so let me set this up for you. So Kevin is with SlickPic, and you guys, I know that many of you have SlickPic portfolios. In fact, I was working on mine, updating mine this weekend. And you know, it was nice. So I have that plan at SlickPic. What's it called, Kevin, where your designers will
It's the bespoke plan where
Yeah.
our designers design it for you. Yeah.
Right. So I tried to do, even though you guys designed it for me, I still mess around it, and I couldn't figure out how to do something. So I went to your help, Kevin, and I said, hey, I'm trying to do this thing. And I woke up in the morning, and I looked at my portfolio, and it was done. Like they did it for me, and then they sent me a video on how they did it.
Awesome.
So when I wanted to do the same thing again, I had a video. They showed me a tutorial. I was very impressed, Kevin. That was my first time I've had to do that.
They're responsive.
Man, they are. I mean, I woke up in the morning. I told my wife, I go, honey, remember that thing I was struggling with last night? They fixed it, and they sent me a tutorial. I was very impressed. Anyway.
It's almost like magic.
Right. But Kevin is with SlickPic, and you guys hear us talk about them all the time. And the thing that we love about them is I think it's the only portfolio out there, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, that is strictly made for photographers. Because all the other portfolios that I know that are out there are for graphic designers or photographers, and they seem to be more for graphic designers.
Yeah, more for the designers
Or they're for your local insurance agent or your hair salon.
Yes,
or,
right,
they're
like Squarespace.
Generalized sites.
And Kevin, I don't know if you noticed, but Rick Salmon just showed up right beside
Wow.
you. And as we know, he is
Yeah.
photography royalty. He's married to the Duchess of the iPhone.
That's true.
He's married to the Duchess.
love it.
So so he should technically be the Duke.
Well, actually, SlickPics, thank you for that accolade and that title. We travel around the world. We're at airports, and people actually bow to Susan. They say it's an honor to meet the Duchess. But actually, SlickPics, we have what's called the iPhone Photo Experience, a website that these guys did. Scott, like you said, overnight, and it's amazing. It's a great way to share. But the new product they have, I guess I am jumping the gun. It's totally awesome.
It is, and I'm already using the product as well, and so Kevin, if you want to tell us a bit about it real quick.
Sure. So what we're announcing today with Rick and the team here is our newest product, which is called MobiAlbums, and it stands for mobile albums, of course. And it's a great way for anybody to share their albums on SlickPic to anybody's phone. So you literally have your SlickPic albums in your pocket. So that's a little screen we put together, and really it's what's called a web app. So it's a one-tap view on your phone, and I'll be demonstrating it here in a minute if you want. But it's a lot of great use cases. Of course, for the professionals, it's a great way to do things like posing guides, or you maybe want to visualize locations before you get there. Great for tutorials and flashcards. For passionate photographers, enthusiasts, it's a great way to share photos with friends and family. I'm at a birthday party. I'm taking pictures of my kids. Grandparents can't be there. I just share that out with them. And now Grandma can go to her yoga class or spin cycle class or whatever and show all of her friends. This particular mobile album that you see on the screen right here is from my niece's engagement recently. So again, I took a bunch of photos. I put them in a MobiAlbum, and I shot them out to everybody's phones, and now she can show her friends what the engagement experience was like. I think we're going to be amazed at how many things people come up with for MobiAlbums.
Or you could just put your portfolio in. That's what there's mine right there. So there's one of my albums.
Sweet.
On the app, and it's a great experience. You can see all the images. You click on any one, it makes them bigger, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's so very easy to do. So Rick, tell me how you're using it.
Well, you know what? I travel a lot like you, so like when I'm on the plane, I could actually share my pictures. I don't need to pay to sign up, so I'm able to share my pictures, and actually all the galleries that I have on SlickPic, now I have these Mobi apps, and actually I like it so much. Although you have it, Susan, the Duchess, and me, the Duke, I might change my name to Moby Rick because I'm using it so much. If that's okay with you.
I don't know. I've always thought of you as royalty, Your Grace.
Yes.
No, but sharing we live in the age of sharing, right? So I think it's amazing that SlickPics came up with this, because I know other websites have tried to do this, but none across all the platforms, whether you have the Android or the iPhone. So it's really cool. I think it's going to be really big, and I think they're going to be involved in a couple of other things with you. Maybe the photo walks. Did I hear that correct, Kevin?
I believe so.
Yeah. No, we're talking about that right now.
Yeah.
What a great way to share the pictures, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it would be incredible. But so anyway, I know that a lot of our viewers, because we hear about it all the time, and Erik and I every week we do one-on-one portfolio reviews.
Yeah.
And so many of the reviews that we do are on SlickPic. So I know a lot of our viewers and a lot of our Kelby One members already are SlickPic, subscribers, and they have their portfolios on there.
Well, like you said, Scott, it's because I really think it's the one that's designed for photographers. So it's really the one that leads as this is for, if you're a photographer, this is the one made for you.
Yeah, and I've been able to, even though they built my site for me, I've been able to maintain it myself. I've been pretty much able to just do my own thing and all that, and it wasn't until I did something wrong. It's always I even told them, I even had to apologize to them. I think, look, I know I've screwed this up, but they fixed it for me. But so outside of that, I think once it's up and running, it's very easy to maintain and swap out pictures. And
well, Scott, you just said swap out, which is really good. You could swap out and you could add. So, if I go back to the same place, like I'm going to Antarctica again, like you are, so I have the gallery there, but now I can add to that gallery super easily. So you could constantly upload these mobile upload pictures to your MobiAlbums.
All right. So if you're a SlickPic subscriber, how much does it cost to add a Mobi to your account?
Well, if you're depending on the plan, you get a certain number of MobiAlbums per plan. So the do-it-yourself pro guys will get 25 MobiAlbums to share. Somebody on a bespoke classic plan where we're building and maintaining your site for you, they'll get 50 MobiAlbums. And of course, you can buy them in packs, if you run out.
So Kevin, I have one. You're just saying I have 49. I got 49 left.
Oh yeah, brother.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't think I'm gonna run out of. I don't think I'm. Hey, so Kevin, can you
Yes.
demo it for us? Can you just kind of just real quick show us how it works?
Yeah, I'll demo it real quick. So I've got an album here of some shots that I took in Mexico. So making a MobiAlbum is hilariously easy. So you click on the Customize album, and that brings up your Customize album dialog box. And you can pick a view for the album. Flow usually works pretty good. Then you just click on this menu item that says MobiAlbums, and you turn it on. That's all there is to it. Now, once that's auto-saved, when it comes time to share the album with somebody, you get a QR code, you get a link you can copy, and if you don't mind, I'd like to basically show you that on my phone. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah, so what I'm going to do, so what I'm doing right now is I'm using my phone camera to take a picture of that of that QR code, and it's going to come up. Well, I'm going to share my screen here in just a second here. Let's turn on screen mirroring. Bam, bam. Okay, I can't see you guys anymore, but I'm assuming that you can see.
Yeah, we got it.
Yep,
Okay,
we see it.
okay.
Yep.
Okay, good. So let me. I actually. I forgot to add. I forgot to add it onto my home screen. But let me show you Rick's album here. Same thing. You take a QR code, and if you pop into Rick's album here, now we've got. This is one of his Cuba albums, of course. And now I'm simply using I'm just swiping left to show pictures off. And if he ever wants to add an image to this album, he just adds the image and it automatically would update the mobile app. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and Kevin, if it was just like when you opened up that link, you just hit that share and add to home screen, and that's where you would have just had that app right on your desktop. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm actually going to do it right here because it is kind of a good experience for you guys to see how easy it is.
Yeah, definitely.
That. So again, I've got it here. I'm just going to press a little button that says add to home screen. Okay. And now we go there, and now I've got it. So if I do screen mirroring again, bam, bam, bam. Okay, click that. Now, since I've added it to my home screen, there it is right there. So there's the album experience, and it takes a second to load over video here and things like that. But it'll pop on up, and the experience on the web is exactly the same as the mobile album here. So it's just taking a second to load in here. There we go.
There we go.
So, and if I want to reorder anything on the organizer, that main screen that I showed you, you can just reorder images, and they'll pop right in here, and the MobiAlbum will be updated.
Nice.
So that's how that's done.
Sweet.
Super.
That looks good.
Easy.
And it looks like you guys, it took you put your investment into the app and not into green screen technology, Kevin.
Yeah. I got kind of a small quote home office here. My wife likes to call it a home office, but it's really a closet.
No, it looks good. You're absolutely glowing.
Yeah.
You're radiant.
Hey, we have to congratulate Kevin on something. not only the cool app, but he just came back from Mexico and he didn't get sick and he drank the water.
You drank the water?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we have to test our resiliency and hardiness every once in a while.
That'll do it.
That'll
test
do
your
it.
Resiliency. All right, so Rick, I have to ask you something, Rick, and it's unrelated to all this. So I hope Kevin, you'll forgive me. But so, do you happen to watch the TV show Bridgerton?
No.
Do you watch it, Kevin?
Where are you going with this, Scott?
No, it's not bad because. So it's a great TV. I just saw it. I binge watched it with my wife. So when I was in Santorini, my wife watched the first season, and I did not realize it's super naughty. It's like what? It's very, very.
I think that's where Kevin was going. Where are you going with this, Scott?
So that's why I'm getting the question.
But when they're not being naughty, which they are about 10-15% of the time, the rest of the time they're living a life in these beautiful mansions, and everything's very formal. And I've never been to Rick's house, but I feel like Rick's house and his life, up there as the Duke and Duchess of iPhone photography is very much like the show Bridgerton, but with maybe 6% naughty stuff instead of the 15 that they have on the show. Is that about right?
Well, actually, Susan and I have invested in green screen technology. That's why you can see how this looks so real. So I can actually hold up a phone and I'm not glowing, and I don't get the the ghost, whatever you call it.
Oh, Rick, I swear I always thought that was your real room.
No,
Oh!
the guitars
That's
are
not?
fake. I took the guitar. I use generative fill, Adobe's generative fill to put the guitars in here. The Volkswagen bus. My book, I'm not actually even holding
totally
this
messing
book.
with you
It's
guys.
not even
He's
here.
totally-
So it's amazing.
He's totally messing
So-
with all you guys.
No, technology's amazing.
The whole studio audience is going, there's
Dude,
no
you got
way.
the studio audience for that
There's
one.
no way.
Hey!
Wait a
plus-
minute.
Plus, hey,
That's
Scott,
not green screen. It is not green screen.
No. Actually,
That's just the Duke playing tricks on us.
I could play the guitar, but I think there'd be a little bit of a lag. But I will show you this. Before Scott Kelby was born in 1969, I went to Woodstock and I had a Volkswagen van. So you can imagine me like driving around on like the Volkswagen van up in Woodstock, just like this.
And by the way, I was 9 in 1969. It was not before I was born. I was
Well,
like in 3rd grade or some crazy crap.
Well, you look younger, and I think that studio audience is giving you, the energy and the feedback.
It is.
And,
It's
and
that.
and that's a good-looking group. Look at that group.
I know.
The shorts, got the shorts there, shorts and sandals.
Well,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
not even
Welcome
here.
to
That's
Florida.
a green screen
Hey,
over
everybody.
there.
Hey, let's give everyone the peace sign like we used to do at Woodstock. Do they even know what the peace sign is? Maybe they're too young.
No, they seem to have it. All right. Well, Kevin, so you guys have a deal, right, for Kelby One members? You can go to slickpic.com/Kelby1.
There you go.
And that plan that I have is the bespoke plan, which is you get 25% off of that, and it is very nice. They do design. Like I just kind of had to tell them, here's what I'm looking for, and I showed them a couple of other people's websites, and they nailed it. Like they came back, and I'm like, what changes do you want? I'm like, that's it, none.
That's awesome.
Done.
Yeah.
No, they're very, very good, and you get 1,000. Dude, if you use 1,000 MobiAlbums, come on.
I think that's just an awesome number. Nice round
Yes.
number.
That's
Scott,
So you'll never run out of MobiAlbums.
pretty
Scott,
much.
They made that number at 1,000 because of my age, because I've been around a while.
This is true. Rick
So-
was right after Adam.
He was
all right.
He was at
So,
Bridgerton.
right after Adam. They never tell you who's next. It was Rick. It was Rick Salmon. If you look. All right. And so Tim Oliver says you got to love Rick. He really is just a figment of our imagination.
I'm not even here. This
Turns
is
out
real
he's
green
just
screen.
he's just one big green screen.
I'm just one big green screen.
All right. Okay. So we're gonna have to take a break. But Rick, I want you to watch this next segment because there's some AI stuff in here that I want you to see. I think it's very interesting.
Awesome.
But Kevin, thank you for joining us,
Yeah.
and
Thank you,
congratulations on launching these new. 1,000 you get 1,000. You know why? You might as well pick some crazy number because no one will ever use that many. I'm thinking I got 49 left. I'm thinking I want to use about 6. So I'm never going to get
Go
to that
for it, man.
49. But I wasn't. To be honest with you, I wasn't thinking about using them the way that you're talking about using them.
Oh, really?
So, no, I was just thinking of them as an extension of my portfolio on my phone, or I can share with somebody. Now I'm thinking about them in a different way. So now I think I'm
Now
going to
you
need
might
about
use
800.
a few more. Yeah.
But not
Hey,
1,000.
I got one little quick special
Oh, please.
note here.
Yeah.
You look at my screen. I've got Rick's QR code for his Cuba MobiAlbum. So
Oh.
if anybody wants to have a MobiAlbum from Rick Salmon, the Duke, on their
The
phone,
Duke.
take a
see.
picture of that and load it onto your home screen.
All I can say is I hope that's the right one after Scott's comment about the show he's watching. I really hope that's the right QR code.
Or it could be a link to Bridgerton,
Oh, look at there. Yeah, it worked
which
for
is,
me.
is how I imagine that Rick lives in a giant castle with servants, and they refer to each other as Your Grace, and so it's
That's funny.
the Duke and the
Look at-
Duchess.
I got
Well,
Rick's-
and they're
Oh,
also
here, look,
I got
take a
Rick's
look on
portfolio
screen.
on my
He
phone.
got Rick's.
It's the green. It's not green screen.
No, it's not green
Oh,
screen.
right on.
There's
Right on my
Rick's
phone.
right there.
Yeah. It's
Fantastic,
cool.
Erik. Way to go. And you know, the folks at Bridgerton are so well dressed.
They are. They're
They
very
are.
well. And do you know how often they go to the modiste to get new outfits? Like the whole show is based on it's time for new outfits. Now we just started season 3, so Kevin, don't tell me anything. But just knowing that you watch this tells me a little bit about you, Kevin.
Okay.
Should've
Because
worn my good
it's
shirt.
filthy.
Yeah,
Should've
look
worn
at
my
that.
good
Wow.
shirt.
Oh, I love that shirt.
Wow.
Man.
Definitely a Duke's shirt right there.
That is a fancy Duke shirt.
That's neat the way he throws stuff around his green screen set.
Into the green screen.
I was when Rick said it was
that
green
shirt isn't
screen, I'm
even there,
thinking,
guys.
Man, he must have put some money into that thing. I thought for a second, I was fooled for a second.
Well, listen,
Anyway.
after you have almost 50 Kelby 1 classes, I have almost 50. You could afford good green screen technology.
I guess so. That's amazing that you have 50 classes.
Almost.
That's almost 50. That's crazy. Well, we hope to have many more. Kevin,
you.
Any last words, Kevin? Anything else? Where can people
No.
go learn more at SlickPic.com?
SlickPic.com is where you want to go to learn more and to look at all of our themes, look at all the folks that we have using SlickPic, brand names that you might have heard of.
Oh, yeah, and use our discount code.
Yeah, definitely go to /Kelby1 if you want to pick up a plan. And as Scott mentioned, we're always here to help. We pride ourselves on customer service and quick turnaround. So
Yeah, you guys are great. So thanks very much, Kevin and Rick. Always nice seeing you guys. Thanks
Okay,
very
I'm
much.
gonna keep watching though.
All right.
All right.
see you later. Me too. Bye now.
All right, thanks. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want to show you, I want to kind of wrap up our thing we were talking about. We have giveaways, but I want to show you this AI thing that I saw this morning. I think it's kind of interesting. So we'll be right back. Don't go away.
We know who looking like this for real. We know who looking like that. We know who looking like this for real. We know who looking like that.
Well, hey everybody, Erik Kuna here, and I'm here with another class on creative techniques for airshow photography. This is going to build off of if you've just taken a basics class, you've gone to air shows, you've got the basics down. We're going to go through these techniques that you can do to take your shots from just having a frozen plane or just having some prop blur to adding motion to your frame, putting intersecting objects with your frame. We're going to go through things about lowering our shutter speed, raising our shutter speed, using stuff in the foreground, using stuff in the background, different angles that we're going to shoot, taking our shots from just good, sharp shots to creative shots like this. So join me over in my class over on Kelby1.com, all about creative airshow photography techniques.
I am a portrait and wedding photographer based in Valencia, Spain.
I do mainly commercial and editorial photography, and I retouch up to 100 photos a month.
We shoot almost every day for all kinds of clients, such as commercial, beauty, and fashion. And we retouch our work more often, like every other day.
I used to spend over 1 hour for one photo.
If we want professional results, we must remove skin blemishes, do micro dodge and burn, highlight eyes, whiten teeth, and even reduce wrinkles in clothes. And this can easily take me up to 2 hours of work for each photo.
So when I saw that there's a plugin for Photoshop that helps you retouch quicker, I was eager to get my hands on it.
I read many feedbacks about it, and I found a lot of positive reviews, which made me to consider buying my first plugin.
One of the challenges we have at the end of a session or wedding is to achieve an edition in our photograph that look natural. This is where retouch for me has become a game changer.
I love the feature that you can pick how much effect it has on your photo and you can adjust it accordingly to your style.
I saved a lot of time and always end up having amazing result with my work.
I am extremely happy with the quality.
Now I am more efficient and have more time to spare with my family.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
2, 1. Oh, I saw Juan back there.
Yeah, we saw Juan for a minute.
Saw Magic Juan.
All right, so a couple of things. We were just talking with the studio audience here about the tripod thing, because I was surprised. I thought maybe in the comments some people would get angry, because when you tell people not to use stuff, it makes them want to use it even more. But one of the comments that we were all just talking about was, like, I did take my tripod with me to Santorini, and how often did I use it? I think I used it for 4 minutes one day, or 6 minutes, but I carried it for 8 hours. I had that thing with me everywhere I go, and like, I'm famous for leaving stuff behind. And so anytime you have a camera bag or a tripod, now you have to babysit it, because people will steal your stuff. You have to really be careful. I could tell you we should do a story one time, a whole show of The Grid of just stories of stolen equipment, of people who have been on vacation or been somewhere and their gear gets
like we
stolen.
Need to have Jefferson Graham on for that one.
Oh, we got to have Jefferson. Jefferson was filming a Kelby 1 class, and someone, while the camera was rolling for the class, someone ran by and stole his whole rig. But we've had friends held up at gunpoint. I mean, everything you can imagine. People have had cameras ripped off their shoulders and dislocates their shoulders. People thrown down and their gear taken. I mean, everything you can imagine. And if you carry a camera bag, what you're saying is, I've got this bag full of money. If you can get it, it's yours. That's why I don't like carrying my camera bag. It's one more thing I have to worry about. Every time you sit down at a restaurant, now you have to worry about it even more. And so I'll just tell you a quick story. So my editor, the editor of my books, Ted, is going to Barcelona. Now, Barcelona has a reputation, earned or not, for being one of the pickpocket hotspots. So he tells me he's going to Barcelona with his wife, and I'm like, Ted, you got to be careful. You got to be really careful. I'm telling you, they're pros there. And he's like, oh, no, it's fine. We know all about it. We'll be really careful. Ted gets back and says, okay, here's my story. We're super careful. We're all worried about it. We sit down at a cafe, my wife and I. It's broad daylight, middle of the day, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And my wife puts her purse in a way where no one can get to it, right? She wraps it around the chair or whatever. And he goes, we're just having our lunch, and a man comes up and says, hey, do you know where such and such a street is? And we're like, yeah, we're not from here. And he goes, her purse was gone. It was gone in a split second. It was from him saying the sentence, do you know where whatever Orange Street is? And when they, no, we're not from here. And her whole purse was gone. Now, luckily, she only lost some money and a few other things. She didn't lose her passport, and she didn't lose her credit cards. But she lost cash and some other things, and everything else, all the other contents of her purse. But it happened in a split second when they were extra alert for this. Like, she's putting her purse around the chair in a way that nobody can steal it. They stole it anyway. They will do all kinds of stuff. And that's one thing I don't have to worry about as far as extra gear goes. Now, I'm also wearing the Black Rapid strap, which goes across my body.
I was about to say.
If they grab my camera, I'm going with them.
They got to take me with
them. They're going to. We're all going. So they're not going very fast. They're going to be very slow, and we'll have plenty of time for Erik to catch them and beat them to death with his tripod.
Yep.
So that's basically why another one of the reasons why I really enjoy going light. And one of the things is this: what I'd recommend to you, and I would sum this whole show up this way: just try it. Just do it once. Just on one of your trips, say, you know what, I'm going to go really light. If you don't have the, say, Sony makes the 24 to 240. Canon makes a 24 to 240. Nikon makes an equivalent one from the mirrorless, but it's 24 to 200. Still
or the
a great
28
lens.
To 400.
Or you could do their 28 to 400 if you don't.
Not a little. It's a little heavier.
Yeah, it's a little heavier. It's a little bigger. It's not too expensive,
still,
though. It's cheap.
It's not too expensive. Yeah.
No, it's not too expensive for what it is. It's a great range. However, try one where you just don't have to change lenses. And for 2 trips last year, I took my 14 with me, and I took a camera bag, and I never, ever took the 14 out. Now, it looks like I'm about to buy the 16 when the show's over, so I'll have that little
sit
16.
in your pocket. That could just
yeah,
sit in
that
your
could be in my pocket. So,
and then it's so cheap that like if you lost that one, you wouldn't feel like bad.
My camera bag is small. I use the Turnstile 10 Think Tank. It's a little lens bag. It's about this big, and it holds an amazing amount. It's a miracle of geometry. But it's super lightweight, but I don't even carry that anymore. If I take it with me, I use that bag to get my gear to the country or the city, and then it stays in the safe in my room. I take my camera out, I put my lens on, and that's it. But if I want something safe to just get my gear there, I take that little bag and I throw that bag in my suitcase.
There you go.
It fits in my suitcase. It's that small. All right, we had some comments here. Stu says he's just down the road.
So Stu made it.
Stu's here.
Stu made it. And Diane saying, hey, from Pensacola, Florida. It's hot here. Yep, it's hot. Definitely hot in Florida. And Doris saying hi from Ohio. Sherry saying hi to Scott.
Hi, Sherry. I know
Diane,
Sherry.
Greetings from vacation in Maui. Hopefully Diane's going light.
Nice.
And then Cammie saying hi from a sunny Rock Hills, South Carolina.
I like Sam's comment. Sam Knudsen says, my Kelby One Pro membership is the best thing I ever bought. It has improved my shooting and helped me a lot to not buy a bunch of the other stuff. Invest in yourself. It's where the cool kids are. Let's go.
That's what I mean. 100%. 100%.
That's very, very gracious of you guys.
That's when you start learning how to control your gear, you realize that you don't need as much gear.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just learning how to use it, and you don't have to be like, you don't have to know everything that's in the menus, because I know you think that there's a menu item there that says make great photos, but it's really not. It's really just about your shutter speed, your aperture, and your ISO. That's really what it is. Hey, James says the grid works well with an audience live.
There you go.
This is the only problem is. This is the most people we've ever been able to coax in the studio.
Yeah.
We were just asking Stu on the break, and like, couldn't you bring in some more people from outside? Couldn't you? Like, he's like, no. This we got what we got.
They didn't want to go driving in the 100-degree heat.
Yeah.
So,
alrighty.
We got winners.
We got winners. Who's winning what?
So we've got Bay Morel is winning the How to Do That in Photoshop book. We got the Photoshop Digital Photographers book going to Erik Bittner. And then Platypod Elbow going to Sydney Meyer. And then the V-Flat going to Doug K. And then we've got On One's No Noise going to...
Do you notice that the control room, they're just clicking on anything. They're bringing up all these different products.
On One No Noise is going to Michael Fedig. And then we've got Retouch for Me Mattify going to Cammie Brazil. And then SlickPic Classic 1-year gallery plan going to blank.
Oh, blank Johnson.
Blank. Well, if you won the if your name's blank and you won the SlickPic gallery plan, I hope you're a new customer.
All right. While we're trying to find someone to win the SlickPic, can I show you this thing? AI thing?
So if you did win, you're one of those people. Just email us over at gridprize@kelby1.com. We'll verify information and then send you out your prize. Just make sure to do that by this Friday.
All right. So I want to tell you, I'm on an email list for the, I guess it's either Musée or Musée. It is a vanguard of photography culture. Culture, yes. Anyway, and they have some very interesting stuff. And I clicked on this one today, which was an interview with this. I guess you would call him an artist, because what he's doing, he tells you his whole thing is based on AI. He's coming up with these prompts, and he's making these situations that could not really exist in real world, which I really appreciate that. I mean, the painters have been able to do this forever, right?
Yeah, just create something out of their
They can create like something in space that's never been done, and there's some great artists that just and so this person's doing kind of like scenes of old New York, but weird things. Like, for example, take a look at this one, I thought. And this is Phil Toledano, and like look at this.
Yeah, like bubbles.
But it's not just the bubbles. The whole scene has a surrealism to it, right? Like it looks like people from the 1930s or 40s.
Yeah.
It's got the old cars, but the cars back then were mostly black. Like color cars didn't come for a while, but the color schemes match the bubbles, and it's just. But I looked at a few more, and I read the interview as well, and but it's very well done. Like everything, like the colorizations and everything. But this next one was the one that really captivated me. This one right here. And it looks so real. I mean, it looks like that happened in Manhattan. Right?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it really, and the colorization and everything and the crispness of it. And these are all generated by AI. And he talks about, it's an interview. And he's very frank about it and stuff. And it's just very, very. I think might be one more picture down here.
So that's over at musemagazine.com.
But that's very well done. They're all just. I don't know. I just found them. I look at a lot of AI art, and sometimes I'm just like, I think Rick Sammons done some very clever things. But I see a lot of just completely generated AI, and I shrug my shoulders. I'm like, But this guy stopped me in my tracks. I thought this was really compelling. Like, this seems like art.
Well, I think that's where, at first, it's AI is very, especially this use of AI, it's very new, right?
Yes.
And I think you're seeing it start to emerge as it comes out to where it's just another art form, or this style is becoming another art form where people are using the computer and using prompts to kind of create, like you talked about, they're almost painting with words.
Yes.
And what they're doing is explaining what they want to a machine, and that machine's creating that art.
But when I look at this is the first time I want to try that now, looking at his thing. But the problem is, I want to do what he's doing.
Right.
I want to do old New York. And it's like so that's what I think.
So we have Kelby 1 classes on that.
I know, but that's what I think a lot of people are missing about it, is that is the creativity of coming up with the idea of doing these scenes in old New York. Like, he had the idea to say, I want like a Lockheed Electra in the snow in old New York with people kind of gathered around.
But it's no different. If you look at that scene, that's no different than what you do on a photo shoot with a model. When you set up a scene,
right? You come up with the idea if you're on location.
And that's what's cool about AI, is that it gives you that ability to, without having to, the hard thing with photography is if we wanted to make that scene, we'd have to get the snow, we'd have to get the permit, we'd have to get the plane, we'd have to, get it.
In other words, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and that's what I thought was interesting about this.
Yeah.
These scenes and these things just aren't going to happen. And this was me for the first time admiring completely generated art. Victoria White's done some very good stuff too, but it's a handful of people that I've seen do some stuff that's very, very good. Hey, we have a winner for our SlickPic.
Yeah, so Sam Knutson has won the.
I think Sam deserves to win.
Yep. And then so he's got the SlickPic 1-year gallery plan. So just email us over at gridprize@kelby1.com.
All right, what's happening next Wednesday here on the grid? Anything?
Next Wednesday, nothing is happening on the grid because we have the crew out with Joe McNally.
That's right. Joe's workshop is next week.
Huge workshop going on next week. So we have a lot of the crew out there for that.
Well, there goes the crew. All right. So next Wednesday,
which I can't wait. I can't wait for that. It is absolutely amazing. What is going on? I was looking at the schedule, I was like, this is incredible. I don't even know.
Well, he wanted to do something that had never been done before.
Yes.
He wanted to break new ground.
It's definitely never been done before at another level. Like, it's insane.
It's insane.
It is insane.
But that's how Joe rolls.
Christina and I were talking about the other day. Like, it really is action-packed. That's for sure.
That's how Joe rolls. All right. Well, thanks to everybody. Also, a very special thanks to our studio audience who was kind enough to come in. And we got a chance to talk with them before, and they're mostly nice, except for Stu. But no, we know Stu well. But anyway, also thanks to our sponsors and thanks to Rick and Kevin for coming on the show. And Dobson, I think you've done a certainly a satisfactory job today, I would say. What would you call his work today?
This was satisfactory. This was satisfactory.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget, next month we've got the landscape photography conference coming.
That's right.
Landscape photography
June
conference.
18th and 19th. It's just a landscape photography conference, but we're going to be doing a lot of post-processing. We'll be using some of the On1 stuff. We've got some great instructors. Go to kelby1live.com to sign up. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Have a great Wednesday. Take care.